Meinders, my dad, up here to speak. So you can come up if you want to. Thank you. Good morning. How are you? Wow. Being up here reminds me of a movie. You ever see First Day of School pictured in movies? You walk in the hallway, all of a sudden it gets dark, and there's a bright light on you, and everyone's staring at you, and you feel awkward. That's me right now, in real life. So it's good to be here. This is my first day of school, so I hope you welcome me well. But I'm going to ask, can you shift down these lights and pick up the other ones? I'd like to be able to see who I'm talking to a little bit, if you're okay with that, and that'd be awesome. So this is how I want to begin. This week, I had a meeting. Sometimes pastors have meetings at nights, and our meeting got done early. Woohoo, it was good. And I was talking to someone after the meeting. They were excited that the meeting got done, so they were going to go home and they were going to watch TV. They were just geeked about watching TV. I didn't know if they were going to go home and watch some reruns of The Office, I didn't know if they were going to go watch preseason football or Americans Got Ninja Warrior thingy. I didn't know for sure. But then they shared with me what they were going to watch. They were going to watch the U.S. Open. They were geeked. Like, they were so excited. Just curious, any of you watching the U.S. Open? Tracking it? Be bold, be brave. You don't have to be ashamed here. Okay? I don't see anyone. No one? One-ish, kind of? Yeah? Okay. So there's a few. Oh, there's one. Thank you. Thank you for representing. So there's hardly any people here who watch the U.S. Open. So for you, I brought a tennis ball along. All right? So I just wanted to bring this along to honor those who do this. But as they were telling me this, I was just thinking, I don't know how many people tune into the U.S. Open. Like, how many people actually watch, unless you're into tennis, a ball on the court? In fact, I see a tennis ball in other places more often than I do on a tennis court, right? So can you help me out here? Where do you see a tennis ball at times, not on the court, but being used for something else? You can interact. Just in a dog's mouth, right? It makes a great toy to throw. They gnarl on it, and then they bring it back to you. What else? Physical therapy. You rub it on your muscles or on your feet or whatever. Yeah, joy for the tennis ball. What else? In your garage, they dangle it down, and then you pull up, and you know how far to get in when it kisses the windshield. Perfect. Anything else? Walker or canes, right? So they stuff them on the bottom so they get this smooth, glossy ride as they chill and walk through a retirement home, right? So that's what these are often used for. And I'm going to welcome you into my brain. It's a scary place, but this is what I was thinking of. Let's say a little baby tennis ball was born. Okay? I know it's weird, you just imagine. And the mommy tennis ball says to the baby tennis ball, what do you want to be when you grow up? Do you think the tennis ball is going to be like, man, Mom, I can't wait to be that tennis ball that hangs in a garage, and when my owner comes home, he hits me with the windshield. Like, that just sounds amazing to me. Or to be that ball that gets thrown and chewed on and drooled and is never dry because of the drool from a dog, right? That's what I want to be. I want to be that tennis ball that's shoved on a walker and cleans the floor of a retirement home. Like that. That's what I want to be when I grow up. That's not going to be it, right? I want to be the ball that is in the championship match of the U.S. Open. That's what I want to be. Or Wimbledon, where people say jolly good. Like when they cheer and they clap their feet. Wouldn't that just be amazing? So, but not any of those other things. It's not what it's made for. It's not what it's really built for. Those are good things, but it wasn't why it was designed. I start this way because you are at a place where people ask you the question, maybe not what you want to be when you grow up, that was maybe when you were younger, but what's next for you? Right? Seniors, this is going to become a very annoying question. By April, May, what are you going to do? I don't know. Am I supposed to do anything? Like, graduate. That's what I want to do. Right? What do you want to do next? That's the constant question. I have an 8th grade son. He was asked that by someone yesterday. What are you going to do after high school? He's in 8th grade. Like, it's always like, what's next? And so I just want to take some time this morning with you and pause, and I want to focus in the now. Who are you now? Because who you are now is going to radically shape what comes next. Okay? And to do that, I want to look at this theme that you have of living God's story. 1 Timothy 4, verse 12. Some of you have a Bible. I saw you carry it in. Maybe as many as the one who watches the U.S. Open. But some of you did. So if you want to open it up, that'd be cool. I'm going to walk through this verse with you. We're just going to go slow, low and slow. And let's tackle it. All right? This is how it begins. Don't let anyone look down on you. Okay, I just want to stop there. Don't let anyone look down on you. Let's be clear what this is not. This is not a reference to height. So freshmen, you came in on Monday, there's really no upperclassmen here. You're like, this is pretty cool. Then all of a sudden, all these upperclassmen come, and there's people walking by like, who are you? Right? Looking down. Like, that doesn't happen here, other schools. And so, that's not what it's referring to. People looking down physically on you. Me looking down on you this way. Okay? This is also not what it means. It doesn't mean trying to make much of yourself. So this word is actually not about height, it's about honor. It literally means do not let people think too little of you. And I think that some of you, especially at the beginning of school, you come in with the mentality, I'm not going to let people think too little of me. I want them to think much of me. And so you have strategies of doing that. I'm going to try to be the most fashionable dressed person out there so people think and look up to me. I'm going to be the best athlete on the team so people look up to me. I'm going to try not to associate with those people who people don't look up to, because then they won't look up to me. So I'm going to try to chase this group or be among those people, or at least put them down and laugh at them so other people join me in laughing and look up to me. I'm going to try to be the most academic honored student this year by getting the B, right? I'd be happy with that, right? We try to do things where people think much of us, right? Is that fair? It's not what this means. What this means, you got to go on, okay? Do not let people look down on you. What does it say next? Because you are young. So sometimes we try to get people to think much of us by all that we do, and it can get exhausting. Paul's telling Timothy, don't let people look down on you for something you can't change. Your age. So when Paul was writing this to Timothy, he's thought to be around the age 28, 30 years old. Like, that's old. No, it's all relative. It's not old. I'm 42. Okay, so that's still pretty young. Okay? He met Timothy probably when Timothy was 14, 16 years old, your age. He's writing this 14 years later, roughly, they figure. And he's saying, don't let people look down on you because of something you can't change. Your age. It seems weird, but this is reality. People look down on you because of your age. Did you know that? I see it happen by how people talk about your generation. They refer to you as the next generation. Really? You're living and breathing now? So my world's the church. Do you know how you're referred to in the church? Often it's one of my greatest pet peeves. I just want to go like Serena Williams on people. Like, if you don't watch tennis, Serena Williams, she's amazing. She's a beast. She could kick my butt. And I want to go Serena Williams because this is what they say about you. You are the future church. Have you ever heard that? Future? No, you're like the church now. Not some future entity. You're present now. It drives me crazy. Maybe the only one, but it drives me crazy. Because this is what the suggestion is. You are just in your training years. You're just learning right now. Which means you can't make much of an impact until you get to the next adulthood. Whatever that means for you. Paul knows that's the case. He tells Timothy, don't let people look down on you for that. Think little of you, as if you have no expectations to make an impact. You guys do. That's why Paul goes on to say what's next. But set an example for the believers in speech, in life, in love, in faith, in purity, in all that you do, right? He's talking about all of life. In speech, how you talk. In life, how you live. In love, your relationships. In faith, what you believe. In purity, how you conduct yourself in your relationship with Jesus. So he's saying, be an example. This is what that means. It means be someone that people want to imitate. People want to gravitate to. People want to follow. Not because you're the most fashionably dressed, the top athlete on the team, the smartest kid in class. But because you're living God's story. That's why. So I think it's fair, I think this is pretty much your first chapel, to talk about God's story a little bit. I want us to have the basics that will push us the rest of the year. I'll go through it as quick as I can. Where does God's story begin? You can talk. In the beginning, God. Okay, so he's eternal, he's always been, and at one moment in his eternity, he created. And he created this vast universe that we are still trying to figure out the depths of. I recently heard a TED Talk this week that they just found a new galaxy. This is crazy. It's huge, and he created everything good. Right? Next part of the story. Adam and Eve were created. They were created good. There was a tree that was created good. They were told with a good command, don't eat from it. It's not good for you. What did they do? They ate it. They were like, I'm my own creature, God. Right? I'll do what I want. I'll determine what's good. So think about it this way. Just don't try this at school. Okay? You've been given a policy book for Pella Christian High School. No doubt you've read it, you've memorized it, you know all of it. I could quiz you. I'm not going to waste time because I know it's there. Okay? You've been given expectations by teachers. I've signed some of them, of their expectations for you with homework, attendance, those type of things, right? Is that all legit? What if you came into school this week and you're like, policy handbook, 4-inch inseams on my shorts, right? That's a sensitive subject, isn't it? I'm going to wear 2-inch inseams. I'm my own student. And then you have this deadline, October 13, you have to have a project done. You're like, I'm in football, I've got youth group, I've got my family life going on, my friend life going on. You know what? I'll get to it and I'll hand it in October 23. I'm my own student. And then there's just some of you, like, you get assigned a 5-page paper. Like, 5-page paper. It's ridiculous. Come in, slam it down on the desk of the teacher. Here's your 10 pages. Boom! I'm my own student! Like they're your overachievers. This is the deal. That's what Adam and Eve did. What happened to them? They got expelled. That would happen here if that would be your attitude and way of living. God put at the gate an angel with a flaming sword so they couldn't enter. Wojo would be standing at the door with a flaming sword saying, you shall not pass. Right? That's what happens. That's what happened. And so what was left was death for us, for humanity. And so this is what happens to the story. It becomes a rescue story. And you've got to realize, what I've mentioned so far is just the first 3 chapters of the Bible. The rest of it is a love rescue story. It's kind of like this. This week I was reading the Post. It was of a 17-year-old girl who lives in North Carolina. And she was swimming in the ocean. If you don't know geography and that's by the ocean, you may want to take that class. And she got attacked by a shark. Her dad was on the shore, saw it happening, and so he ran out, swam out, grabbed his daughter, and started pulling her ashore. As he was pulling her to shore, he's realizing he's pulling the shark with her, still attached to her leg. He gets her to shore, and he says afterwards, he reports, I started just hitting that shark. He said, I don't know how many times I punched it, but I gave it everything I had. Finally, the shark let go. The medics came in, and as she was being rushed away to the hospital, the word he kept hearing her say is, Dad. 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 That's our story. We jumped into sin, into the waters of sin, which was death. And God chose in that moment, because of his love, to jump in, to give it everything he had. He gave his one and only Son. And he jumped in, and he took on our death, so that that shark, that sin, is released from us. Death is no more. That's the story. Because he died our death. But the sad reality of the 17-year-old girl, she had a leg amputated. And some of her fingers. Which means every single day she gets up, she's reminded of her story. Every day she gets dressed for school, she's reminded of her story. Every day she tries to do something with her hands, she's reminded of her story. Every day people look at her and knows something happened, she's reminded of her story. That is us. If you have been rescued by Jesus, you've been changed in a way that every time you get up, you're reminded of your story. You come to this place, you're reminded of your story. When people look at you, they see something has happened. It's a rescue love story. And it's not an easy one. That girl still has pain every day. We go through pain, we go through problems. Life is not always okay. But we have a story, we have a promise, we have a God that we can now say to, Dad, Dad, Father, because He's restored our relationship. And there's such goodness there. It's the greatest story we've. So every day is a day to live God's story. But the problem is, just like a tennis ball, it doesn't always live for what it's built for. Sadly, I see too often people not living for what they're built for, which is that love story with God. Where every day you can tell it and people can see it. So this is what I want to do. I'm going to ask you to go ahead and close your eyes. Okay? Just do it. Trust me, I'm not going to throw the ball at you all of a sudden. Unless you have your eyes open, then I may be tempted. Okay? Just close them. Just please do it. You're in a new year. You have a lot of days coming ahead of you in this place. And you're going to have a lot of choices. You're going to be in a lot of good activities, whether that's football or theater or academics or whatever that may be for you, music, choir, art. Those are all good things. But it's not what you're in the end built for. You're built for something bigger, something greater, and that is that relationship with Jesus. So keep your eyes closed. This is what I'm going to ask you. And I only want you to do it if you feel you're moved to do it. You're going to feel moved to live God's story when God moves you. So I'm just going to ask, and don't do it if you're not there. Just raise your hand if you are willing to commit this year to living God's story. That everything you have an opportunity to do here at Public Christian, I'm going to live God's story. And when I fail, I'll repent. I'm still in the story. On the football field, I want to be that presence of Jesus for my teammates. In the hallways, wherever it is, they know something's different. Thank you for raising your hand. You can put them down. There was more than those who watch you whistle. Just saying. And you know what that does? You won't waste your teenage years. Because you were built to make an impact today. I'm going to pray you do for this year. Would you join me in prayer? Gracious God, I want to thank you for this opportunity to bring the truth of your gospel to these students and staff. I want to thank you for this school that is built to tell your story, to live your story. Lord, I ask that you will be with this student body. You will be with them from freshman to senior. I want to pray specifically for those who raise their hands, Lord, that they are willing to commit today to live that story, to be a person who's an influencer in this school. I pray every day they wake up, you remind them, this is my story, I love you, and I have built you to make an impact today. I pray for those who aren't ready to do that, Lord, or maybe too shy to do that. I just ask, Lord, that you continue to nudge them close to your presence and your grace and your love, that they may know who they are in you, a loved child. Build them in that image that you give them. And be with the staff, Lord. May they be that to these students, to each other. That, Lord, it is evident after the year 2019-20 is done, that this is a place impacted by you and built for you in Jesus' name. Amen. Blessings. Love you guys.